Chapter 11, Part 1, Values and Vision. Doing the right things for the right reason. Our task now is not to fix the blame for the past, but fix the course for the future. John F. Kennedy. When a child is born, who rejoices? The parents, relatives, and friends. But who cries? The child. However, when we die, it should be the other way round. We should be rejoicing and have the satisfaction that we made a contribution to the world and left the world a little better place than we found it. Let the world cry that it has lost a good soul and become poorer. Hindu philosophy believes that when good people pass away, they don't die. Their names live on forever through their good deeds. Recall of the last time you heard an eulogy. As people pay their respect, the most common things talked about are the little acts of kindness performed by the person during his lifetime. Little acts of kindness don't go unnoticed. In fact, their impact becomes even more potent after a person is gone. That is when people realize how much those little acts of kindness meant to them. No person was ever honored for what he received. Honor has been the reward for what he gave. Calvin Coolidge. How do we judge our value system? The seven deadly sins according to Mahatma Gandhi are wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, knowledge without character, commerce without morality, science without humanity, religion without sacrifice, politics without principle. Each of these perversions reflects a lack of values. How do you put your value system to the test? I believe there are only two tests. Of these, the ultimate test is the mama test. Whatever you are doing, at home or at work, alone or with someone, if values are in question, ask yourself, if my mama were to see my doing this, would she be proud of me and say, "Atta boy," or would she hang her head in shame? Your values would then be the clarify rather than quickly. If you pass the mama test and fail all other tests, you have passed. If you fail the mama test and pass all other tests, you have failed. If the mama test doesn't do it, I have another test called the baba test. Whatever you are doing at home, at work, alone, or with someone, if values are in question, ask yourself, if my children were to see me doing what I am doing, what I want them to see it, or would I be embraced? Again, the clouds will clear rather quickly and you will get your answers. If these two tests don't clarify a person's value, what would? How does our value system change? With constant exposure, what is intolerable becomes acceptable and eventually translate into involvement. As you make the transition from intolerant to involved, justification takes place. Times are changing. We worry about the declining morals of the younger generation. Where will they end up? Before we point out finger at them, let's evaluate who is to be blamed. Values and virtues are not hereditary, they are learned. We need to get our priorities right if we are to influence the next generation positively. What we do for a living versus what we do with a living. Money is not the payoff for every kind of work. Parents bring up children with no paycheck in mind. Many people have lots of money but they are very poor. Our objective ought to be both to have money and be rich. The most unfortunate part of life is when people want to make money without earning it. The best and the most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with heart. Helen Keller. Hard work teaches a person the value of money. It is important that parents teach their children this lesson. I feel sorry for those of the younger generation who inherit money without values. Without lessons and guidance, they often equate everything with money. They think everything can be bought and sold. Of course, this is not true. Character is priceless. The movie Indecent Proposal brings out the point rather clearly. One act of adultery was worth a quick $1 million. People want to be overnight success at the cost of their conscience and it still doesn't work. That's because true values are priceless. The moment a price is put on values, the values lose their worth. No possible gain can make up for that loss. It is good to have money and the things it can buy, but the most precious thing in life, money just cannot buy. What money cannot buy. When money talks, it doesn't always talk sense. It is not uncommon to hear that everyone has a price. People who talk the language are really up for the sales themselves. People with character, integrity, and the right values are not for sale. Money will buy amusement but not happiness, a bed but not sleep, books but not wisdom, a clock but not more time, companions but not friends, finery but not beauty, food but not appetite, a house but not a home, medicine but not health, a ring but not a marriage. There are two kinds of tragedies in life. Number one, not getting what we want. A greed for those who have suffered. I asked God for the strength that I might achieve. I was made weak that I might learn humbly to obey. I asked for health that I might do greater things. I was given infirmity that I might do better things. I asked for riches that I might be happy. I was given poverty that I might be wise. I asked for power that might have the praise of men. I was given weakness that I might feel the need of God. I asked for all things that I might enjoy life. I was given life that I might enjoy all things. I got nothing I asked for, but everything I had hoped for. Almost despite myself, my unspoken prayers were answered. I, among all men, am mostly rich, bliss, anonymous. Number two, getting what we want. When our value systems are not clear, getting what we want can be a bigger tragedy. The story of King Midas says it all. The Midas touch. We all know the story of greedy king named Midas. He had a lot of gold and the more he had. The more he wanted, he would spend his days in his vaults counting his gold. One day a stranger appeared and told the king Midas he would grant him a wish. The king was delighted and immediately said, I would like everything I touch in to turn to a gold. The stranger asked the king, Are you sure? The king replied, Yes. So the stranger said, Starting tomorrow morning, with the first ray of the sun, you will have the golden touch. The king thought he must have been dreaming, that this couldn't be true. But the next day, when he woke up, he touched the bed and it turned to gold. It was true. Everything he touched did turn to gold. He looked out of the window and saw his daughter playing in the garden. He decided to give her a surprise and thought she would be happy. But before he went to the garden, he decided to read a book. The moment he touched it, it turned into gold. And he couldn't read it. He sat down to breakfast, and the moment he touched the fruit and the glass of water, they turned to gold. He was hungry, and he said to himself, I can't eat and drink gold. Just then his daughter came running into the room, and King Midas hugged her, and she turned into gold statue. There were no more smiles left. The king bowed his head and started crying. The stranger who had granted him the wish appeared again and asked the king if he was happy with his gold touch. The king said he was the most miserable man in the world. The stranger asked, What would you rather have, food and loving daughter or lumps of gold and a golden statue? The king cried and asked for forgiveness. He said, I will give up all my gold. Please give me my daughter back, because without her I have lost everything worth having. The stranger said to the king, You have become wiser than before, and he reversed the spell. King Midas got his daughter back in his arm, and the king learned a lesson that he never forgot for the rest of his life. What is the moral of the story? Number one, distorted values lead to tragedy. Number two, sometimes getting what you want may be a bigger tragedy than not getting what you want. Number three, unlike the game of soccer where players can be substituted, the game of life allows no substitutions or replays. You probably won't get a second chance to reverse your tragedies. How would you like to be remembered? About 100 years ago, a man looked at the morning newspaper and to his surprise and horror read his name in the obituary column. The newspaper had reported his death by mistake. His first response was shock. Am I here or there? When I regained his composure, his next thought was to find out what people had said about him. The obituary read, Dynamite King dies, and he was the merchant of death. This man was the inventor of dynamite, and when he read the words merchant of death, he asked himself, Is this how I am going to be remembered? He decided that it was not the way he wanted to be remembered. From that day on, he started working towards peace. He, the Dynamite King, was Alfred Nobel, and he is remembered today by the great Nobel Prizes. Just as Alfred Nobel redefined his values, You should step back and do the same. What is your legacy? How would you like to be remembered? Will you be spoken well of? Will you be remembered with love and respect? Will you be missed? It's the little things that make a big difference. A man was taking a morning walk on the beach. He saw that hundreds of starfish came in with the morning tide. And when the tide receded, the starfish were left behind on the beach. In the heat of the morning sun's rays, they would die. The tide had just gone out of and the starfish were still alive. The man took a few steps, picked one up, and threw it into the water. He did that repeatedly. Another man came along who couldn't understand what this man was doing. He asked, "What are you doing? There are hundreds of starfish. How many can you help? What difference does it make?" This man did not reply, took two more steps, picked up another one, threw it into the water, and said, "It makes a difference to this one." What difference are we making, big or small? It does not matter. If everyone made a small difference, we would end up with the big difference, wouldn't we? Is your life worth saving? A boy was drowning in a river and he shouted for help. A man passing by jumped in the river and saved the boy's life. As the man was leaving, the boy said, "Thank you." The man asked, "For what?" The boy replied, "For saving my life." The man looked into the boy's eyes and said, "Son, make sure when you grow up that your life was worth saving." This is wake up call. It is time to think. Success without fulfillment is meaningless unless there is a sense of meaning and purpose. Life is empty and unhappy regardless of how much prestige, money, or education you have. Success begins with developing your personal success philosophy about your health, money, family, society, and values. Without a clearly defined purpose and philosophy to guide you, your life will be guided by fantasies. If you have not defined a philosophy of success, you have actually defined a philosophy of failure by default. Commitment. An integral part of good value system is commitment. When your value system is clear, it will be a lot easier to make decisions and commitments. Example, you can't make a commitment to your country by selling secrets to the enemy. You can't keep a friend by revealing to others what he told you in confidence. You can't keep a commitment to job by trying to do as little as possible. Commitments not kept result in dishonest behavior. I wonder how any relationships, regardless of whether personal or professional, would work if people said something to the effect of, "I will try, but I can't commit. I will do it, but don't count on me. I will be there if I can, but don't get your hopes up. I will be there so long as you do well. I will be there so long as you are in good health. I will stick with you till I find something better." If the people in the following relationship couldn't depend on another, I wonder how anything would ever work in this world. Parent or child, student or teacher, employer or employee, husband or wife, customer or salesman, friend or friend. The uncertainty of not being able to depend upon the basic tenets of the relationship could lead to insanity. Our strongest relationships are tied together with the invisible bond of commitment. Today, breaking a promise is considered no big deal. All relationships go sour without commitment. Lack of commitment destabilizes relationship and leads to insecurity. Where there is a lack of commitment, no one knows where he or she stands with each other. Commitment implies number one, dependability, number two, reliability, number three, predictability, number four, consistency, number five, caring, number six, empathy, number seven, a sense of duty, number eight, sincerity, number nine, character, number 10, integrity, number 11, loyalty. If one of these ingredients is missing, commitment loses strength. When you make a commitment to someone, you are saying, "You can count on me no matter what, and I will be there when you need me." Unconditional commitment says, "My behavior is predictable in an unpredictable future." What makes the future unpredictable? Changes in your life and circumstances, changes in external conditions. Regardless of the uncertainty, commitment says, "You can count on me." A person who makes commitment is willing to give up a lot. For what? The answer is pretty clear. The rewards can be priceless. Commitment says, number one, I'm willing to sacrifice because I care. Number two, I am a person of integrity and you can trust me. Number three, I will not let you down. Number four, consistency. Number five, caring. Number six, empathy. Number seven, a sense of duty. Number 8, sincerity. Number 9, character. Number 10, integrity. Number 11, loyalty. If one of these ingredients is missing, commitment loses strength. When you make a commitment to someone, you are saying, "You can count on me no matter what, and I will be there when you need me." Unconditional commitment says, "My behavior is predictable in an unpredictable future." What makes the future unpredictable? Changes in external conditions, Number 4. Despite pain, I will still be there. Number 5. I will not let you down in good times or in bad times. Commitment is not like an enforceable legal contract. Its foundation is not a signed piece of paper but character, integrity, and empathy. Commitment does not mean sticking to something when you have no choice. It means sticking in spite of choices. Without the above ingredients, no one would make a serious, long lasting commitment to others. What makes a commitment valuable? It brings predictability, security, personal growth, strong relationship between individuals and community, lasting personal and professional relationship. Even the gangsters and crooks are looking for committed supporters. Commitment creates a patch of order in a vast tangled jungle. Security in security world, keeping commitments is worth the effort. Commitment means surrendering your personal wants for another person's need. Keep in mind that needs are stronger than wants. Commitments act as a glue that bonds relationship. Commitments imply sacrifice when required. For example, number 1, commitment for friendship implies maintaining confidentially. Number 2, commitment to customers implies giving good service. Number 3, commitment to marriages implies fidelity. Number 4, commitment to decency implies staying away from vulgarity. Number 5, commitment to patriotism implies sacrifice. Number 6, commitment to job implies integrity. Number 7, commitment to community implies responsibility.